Hey everybody, what's going on? You are listening to the Playing On podcast. My name is Carl Markowski, and thank you for joining me. It's been a while. I apologize. I've had a bunch of life stuff going on. I've been absent. I'm sorry. I don't mean it personally. It's just I needed to get a couple things taken care of with retirement, with just life and family and holidays and no excuses. I understand. No excuses. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is something I want to continue doing, and I want to, help out the paintball world in any way that I can. And if it's doing a podcast, it's doing a podcast. So thank you guys for listening. This episode is brought to you by ShockTech USA, the mechanical marker industry, and kind of it's boiling up again. Everybody's getting into autocockers. Everybody's getting into these manual these manual markers that are just awesome to shoot. And if you enjoy shooting autocockers, you would enjoy shooting a ShockTech marker. These things are badass looking. I will actually be shooting a I might be shooting an autococker because I'll be playing with the gunfighters in the 10-man series at the Iron City Classic, at the Chicago event. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to the West Coast event, but most of the 10-man events I'm going to be playing with the gunfighters, so that's going to be fun. But if you guys are looking for a marker to participate in any of this stuff in, or just to plink around with, I mean, it's starting to boom, and the ShockTech markers are amazing. I was on their website. I'm on their website now, and some of the anodizing on these markers are amazing, and just how thin and slim these things are. It's amazing to see. And Danny Love over there at ShockTech, he's personally putting all these things together, so they're gonna shoot awesome. So if you guys get a chance, head over to ShockTechUSA.com. They have the Gunfighter 1.5 frame over there. They have full markers, 5 and 4 star, pneumatics, inline regs, internals, soft goods, all kind of stuff. ShockTech USA. And yeah, enjoy. Shop away. We are also brought to you by Charm City Paintball. Head game is on fire. We have a bunch of people now wearing Charm City Paintball stuff, and it's not because of this podcast. It's because it's quality. It's quality gear. It's quality head wraps, quality headbands. He makes pack bands for myself. He has a very popular grandma's couch fabric that he will be bringing back. That's really cool. But he makes really good product. It's old school feeling. It's fabric. Anything that he makes is usually 10 or less, so it's all kind of a custom run, and it's amazing. Mike's a great guy. He's down out of Florida. He's sewing all of this himself, and it's all great. I mean, I've had nothing but compliments on all of my all of my gear that I get from him. It has been complimented on numerous times. And I enjoy it, man. It's great stuff, and I really enjoy having him. I had him on the podcast, and just as a sponsor, it's really cool. So if you guys get a chance, hit him up on Instagram, Charm City Paintball, as well as Facebook, and and check out all of his designs. He's always uploading new fabrics, and he'd love to work with you. So make sure you tell him that Carl from the Playing On podcast sent you over there. So thank you, Charm City. Thanks, Mike. We are also brought to you by Push Paintball. This is kind of a new sponsor for the podcast, but they have been coming out with some awesome gear lately. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I'm sure you have. But they have the Unite goggle, which is out. Chris Soya is working with them. And they have a bag series that is amazing. They have the goggles that are awesome, and they've really been making some noise in the paintball world. And it's no surprise the product is high quality stuff, and Brian Benini is behind everything, so you know it's gonna be great quality. But if you go over there, they have apparel, they have the bag collection, they have the Unite lenses and goggle system. I have a bag right back here. Also with the Velcro sides, you can get the Velcro letters to make sure that you don't lose your bag, because you'll have teammates trying to take that shot. But yeah, make sure you head over to pushpaintball.com and you can check out all of their very sweet gear. So thank you to Push Paintball. We are also brought to you by CK Fight Life, and you might have known these guys back in the day from the name Contract Killers. But what's cool about CK Fight Life is that they are a mix of paintball and jiu-jitsu, two things that I very much enjoy doing. And if you head to their website, they have anything from rash guards to gis to belts to soft goods, t-shirts, and then on the paintball side, they have packs, they have pants, they do laser engraving, which is has been seen on the pro field and all over the paintball circuit. So it's ckfightlife.com, and you can go over there and scroll and see all of their awesome work with the engraving, with the paintball gear, with the jiu-jitsu gear. No matter what you're into, they have all kinds of styles and stuff, and they would love to work with you on the laser engraving. So, and make sure you ask for Tony. He will give you all the lowdown on everything. ckfightlife.com. Thanks, guys. And lastly, we are brought to you by Rise Custom Gear. These guys are out of Greece and have been seen on the pro field. They TMG Outlaws, and let's see here, who else do they have? But they have they make custom jerseys, custom compression gear for tops and bottoms, and tech shirts, t-shirts. Let's see what else. I have all the websites pulled up here to make sure I don't get anything wrong, and of course it's going slow. But anyway, it's risecustom.com. Make sure you guys check them out. They make some really cool stuff. The fabric that they use is super soft, and it's all sublimated, so whatever kind of crazy cat design or whatever you have going on, they will make it for you. I have a few t-shirts that are going to be coming out. We'll put them on pre-order, but I have this guy right here, the logo tee. It's playing on Powercast logo tee, along with the USA tee, which is this guy right here. It's all amazingly soft, super light, great for the paintball field, walking around in, sweating, all that good stuff. But make sure you check them out, risecustom.com, and check out all their products. They'll make custom. Oh, by the way, the compression gear, the tops and bottoms, are all custom as well. So if you want your name and your number and whatever, your girlfriend's face or boyfriend's face or whatever you want on there, they will hook it up for you. So risecustom.com. Make sure you tell them that I sent you over there, and they'll hook you up. So thank you to all of our sponsors. Okay. Whew. Holy moly. This episode is with Jesse Stevens. He's been on the pro circuit for a little bit now, and he has been one that I've always seen up front, killing it. You know, I first saw him and heard about him with the whole roster series through Planet Eclipse. He kind of jumped around a little bit, headed over to the AC Dallas camp. It was cool hearing kind of how the internals of that work and where his mindset was and what he was kind of going through that time. I totally forgot that he knew Crunchy, Sean from back in the day, who I'd played a small little fraction of time with on Excessive, but amazing paintball player. And yeah, you know, kind of his coming up and you know, hearing kind of how he went about things and where his mindset was and direction. And now I believe he's on with Aftershock of today, or I'm sorry, Xfactor of today. He's found his home, and it's really cool to see. And that's a very solid core group of guys, and they look like they trust him, and they're putting him in positions on the field and in situations on the field where they seem like they really have confidence in him. So it's good to see, and I was really fortunate to be able to have him on, and I wish him the best of luck. But enough of my babbling. Here is the podcast with Jesse Stevens. Enjoy.
Yeah. What's up, man?
The same old shit, different day.
Yeah.
Well, it's a little bit different now, I guess, with not really playing competitively. Well, I wouldn't say not playing competitively. I'm not playing on the pro circuit next year. With that.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I'll do this.
Just maybe play 10-man.
I'll play some 10-man. Well, so I am going to play 10-man with the Gunfighters for the Iron City Classic and for the Chicago event. I'll be playing with them.
That'll be fun.
I don't know if they're gonna try and convince me to shoot an autococker though.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm so terrible at it. That's it. I mean, that's my excuse. I'm really bad at shooting an autococker.
Okay. I'm trying to set this up right.
Well, as long as you have light on your face, you'll be good.
Yeah.
People can see you. Yep.
Is there like glare? Cause the TV behind me.
No. No, it's fine. It's good. It's better than some. For sure. I've had people where they put the light completely behind them and just everything's black and it just doesn't work. But yeah, no, this works just perfect.
Perfect.
So what's up with you, man?
Not much. Just grinding. I'm in school. I have about 18 hours left. I'm almost done with this semester, and just staying busy. It's been a wild off season already.
Yeah.
But I decided I'm gonna stay put on X though. I'm not gonna do anything. I had a couple offers, but
yeah,
I think with where I'm at right now, I'm in the right place. Just with and balance is the key word, especially with doing what we do, and just with school. And I'm working for Alex Martinez now. I do like a lot of the social media stuff for the field now, so I'm working into that, and I'm learning a bunch of stuff on the fly.
Yeah.
And my degree's in communication, so I'm trying to get more into the viral marketing, social media marketing, content creating side of things. Like I really want to do a lot of video editing stuff.
Nice.
Because to tell you the truth, dude, what I would love to do is just what the Ghost Sports guys do, like just creating videos, cool, dramatic, like finals videos and all that, just showcasing everything. Like that's my dream. Like if I could go back and do it all over again, I'd go to UT Austin to film school and just go wherever that takes me, go as far down the rabbit hole as I can, and
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's one. And where would you be? I mean, would that have worked out? It's like, would it have worked out, and would you be where you are now? And I always think about that stuff too, because there's so many different paths that someone can take in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look back and you go, well, man, if I would have made that decision, I could have been, I could have been this, or I could have did that. And I think about it, I'm like, man, yeah, I might have had that chance, but would it have really went the way that I wanted it to?
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. You never know. And I feel like
everything happens for a reason.
It does. And whatever reason that is, I don't fucking know. But it's just weird. I mean, you go about your life making so many of these minute decisions, not really knowing whether or not it is the right one or not. And but deep down in your gut, you know what's right, you know what's wrong.
Yeah.
So
I try to just tell myself, I'm where I am for a reason. Just keep it up, keep doing what I'm doing.
So I heard you're working with First Form as well now too.
Yeah. I just started the Legionnaire program. I'm still learning stuff, and I'm trying to find balance with it all. Like I didn't realize like how much I was really getting into
Yeah.
with all that. Sorry, I'm plugging in my computer so it doesn't die.
No, you're good.
I didn't realize how much I was really getting into with that, because there's just, that's another rabbit hole. There's so much that goes into just being a Legionnaire. Like, I know Greg Sewers does it, and just the whole training, and just learning how to market yourself, and social media, content creation, all that stuff. Just being a part of it and putting yourself out there, just building a following.
Being your own business.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And I mean, I've already been able to make a little bit money off of it, just, getting products to some people, or people just asking me questions and then wanting to try it. And then, it goes from there. But it's been cool. But hey, David, obviously he's been awesome. He helps out a lot of us within the sport who really want to try the products. And to tell you the truth, I've tried a bunch of stuff. I bought into that Legionnaire package, and I got a bunch of gear, and I love it all, to tell you the truth. And they're high quality products. I mean, it's not like these are, anything's low quality, or they've cut corners by any means to, make it as cheap as possible. It's very, very high quality. And I kind of followed it and was dieting pretty hard going into Cup, and I saw pretty awesome results. But again, it boils down to the diet and how much work you're putting into it. I mean, you're a freak athlete, like, you know how it goes.
Yeah. It's what you put in, man. It's basically, when you come down to it, you hear the saying over and over and over again, you are what you eat. And it's such a plain and simple, like, straight to the point saying. It's so true. It's so true. When people go, oh, you are what you eat, yeah, whatever. But I mean, I had we were doing running around today, and we had this, even though it was thin crust, we had pizza, and I'm like, I feel sluggish afterwards, just the carbs and everything. And once you eventually get to that point where your body does start feeling it, when you start eating something else different than, like, the vegetables, the meats, the proteins, whatever, I guarantee you that you will feel it. And if you have a cookie or two, you'll be like, oh my God, you just feel, you feel different.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I was eating super clean going into World Cup. I was dieting fairly well. I was on my grind, working out like sometimes 2 times a day, as much as I can, just with my school schedule and everything. I was able to work that in, but I didn't actually get like a ton of First Form products until about 2 weeks out, like right before the layout dropped. And then I was on it. Like, I was on everything from that point on. And they have a lot of cool little products that, really help. I mean, no pun intended, just supplement your life. Like those OptiGreens that I know you've probably seen.
Yeah, I've tried those.
Supper powder or whatever. Dude, I've been drinking that every day, and I have yet to feel sick or just anything.
Yeah.
And it, like, just simple little things like that, like getting like the full serving of like vegetables and all that good stuff that your body needs but doesn't always get, all the time with like a regular diet, like what we do every day. But just being able to, implement these little things in my diet, and, the just everything they have, like I feel like it's helped me tremendously. But it all goes back to just a clean diet. And it's funny, like, as soon as World Cup ended, I started cheating a little bit, ate Chick-fil-A like the past 2 weeks straight, and whatever I want, while continuing to, work out and do the same thing. And to tell you the truth, like, I've noticed a difference completely. Like, as soon as I change and start cheating a little bit and start putting some processed stuff into my body, like, it's night and day, really. I've noticed it. But overall, it's been awesome. Just the entire First Form family, organization, like, they're amazing people, extremely helpful. My coach that David hooks me up with, he reaches out all the time. And, I completely support all the products 110%. Like, I'm not just going to sit here and try and sell people because, it's something to do. Like, these products have helped me. And I've been so glad that David kind of has been in the position where he is to kind of help us out a little bit with them and open that door. And it's
Yeah.
awesome. It's awesome seeing a company like that kind of get into paintball a little bit. Like if you go to their social media page and you see, them giving Houston Heat shout outs and everything, it's just cool to see, just
Yeah.
cool to see our sport like on social media in a different realm other than just paintball,
Yeah, I'd like
I
this.
don't know.
I thought about this too. I've been thinking about this for a while, and I talked a little bit with David about it. But with Nike coming in, I see, and I wouldn't say coming in. That's the thing. It's like they're kind of dipping their toe in the pool.
Yeah, they're testing the water a little bit.
They're
That's
testing the water, and I don't know if sponsoring individual teams is. I mean, I can understand how sponsoring individual players or some teams that get more press or whatnot could possibly get the product out there. I understand that. But I've always wondered why not try and sponsor the league and have a logo on a bunker constantly while this whole webcast is going on, anything like that. Because you're obviously trying to get you're trying to get ad space,
Yeah.
right? You're trying to get press.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want this to be something like, I kind of related to NASCAR almost, because NASCAR, you have the car is the billboard, and it's on the screen all the time. What is on the screen all the time, the majority of the time when you're watching paintball are the bunkers. And if
Yeah.
I've always wondered why those companies haven't really maybe stepped at least knee deep and contributed pennies on the dollar to them anyway, contributed something like that to the league to be able to maybe help us go in the right direction, to get some more notice. Is it our fault? Is it the way we're shooting it? Is it us not allowing them to come in? That's always been the question that I've had. Is that why have we always sponsored, why is Under Armour sponsored Dynasty, but they don't want to put their name or their logo on a bunker? Or the same thing with Nike, or the same thing with First Form. First Form is built off of an athletic mindset. And that's what we have in this sport. If you really look at the top end competitive side, we're all athletes. Any of these guys can play anywhere on the field. And what better way to promote a product that will put you on the high end? Because I've tried this stuff before, and I really enjoy it. I'm not much of a pre-workout guy, but I enjoy everything else in between,
Mm-hmm.
the OptiGreens and everything. And I just don't know why. Where is it? Are they not trying to take a risk? Is there a risk with them going a little bit deeper? But what's the
They just
loss?
want to see a return.
Right.
Yeah, they just want to see a return. Like that's the biggest thing. They're gonna invest. They want to see something come back. And as paintball players, we're all guilty, but everybody wants everything for free. So
Yeah.
there's all kinds of things that are going back and forth with that. But who knows? Like maybe something in the future. We've seen over the years like all kinds of different companies come into the game. Like remember when Intel sponsored Dynasty, and then Rockstar, and then all that stuff. We've seen all these huge companies come in, and then they're here for a minute, and then they're gone.
Why didn't they stick? Yeah.
But yeah,
that's the question I'm trying to answer, and that's. Yeah, I got a lot of things going on right now. I probably not a lot. Probably just it makes me feel like there's a lot of things that I'm involved in now. But it's there's a lot of questions that I haven't had to really take on, but now I've been thinking about, because we all want the sport to grow, right? We all want to grow with the sport, and how do we do that? And that's what I'm trying to figure out, because it's tough. There's so many dimensions to it too, because there's obviously our side, right? There's our competitive side. Then you have the scenario side that a ton more people play, and also what the public recognizes is going out in the woods and playing. And then you have the entry level side, where it's a happy medium of they kind of play both ends. They play on the scenario field, and then every once in a while they get drug over to the speedball field. It's not like they play speedball, but they're over on there. So they kind of they're just the entrance, the entry level. But how do we bridge that gap to where we all can come together in some way and make this whole thing go public, or more mainstream than what we think it is?
Yeah. That is the question. I don't know. 10-man? Mechanical 10-man? I don't know. I don't know. It is a tough question. But I think it kind of boils down to like how we film it as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think, you know, our game is so hard to just for anyone to really understand, or anyone new really
Right.
to understand what exactly is going on the field. Like you have to actually be playing competitive paintball to really digest or understand like the game that's really going on. And even then, I don't even think, you know, like even half the pro league truly understands like the game of paintball. If you stop a paintball game halfway through, I think there's, you know, it'll definitely, the pro division can definitely be separated if you can just stop a game and have it broken down and someone can actually step up and say like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do in this situation, you know? So on. Does that make sense? So on and so forth.
Do you mean like like physically in a match be able to stop the match, or are you just talking about being able to explain it
if
better?
a match is, yes, explain, like if you can stop a match like halfway through, like something's going on, stop the match and have a player explain what needs to be done, or you know exactly what everyone's doing
From a commentator's perspective, or like being mic'd up and going through and saying, this is why I'm shooting this way, or this is why. See, that's what I think is that I don't think we're explaining it very well. And by explaining it, I mean, I'm not saying Maddie and Todd. I'm not talking about that. I may be saying like them along with better angled shots. You know, putting cameras in better spots, because from our side view perspective, from what we have, like the hockey view or the football view, kind of where it's, you know, the side, it's hard for people to tell why you're shooting in one spot and why you're not. But if we can get more behind angles and see, it's like there was a good camera angle from the I believe it was a Snake Corner, and you can kind of see tape side. You can kind of see down the tape and have a good idea of what's going on there. But if you turn inside, it kind of gets lost. And why are they turning? Where are they shooting?
Yeah.
And if we could put another camera somewhere else, I don't. This is how I've had to think about it. Is that I don't think saying that it's hard to explain and saying that it can't be done is the answer. I think we say we just haven't found the right way to do it yet.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get at.
Exactly.
You know, it's really tough to explain what exactly is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of going back to that point, like I don't like the actual game that is going on. I think there is a small percentage of people who actually truly know like the game of paintball, what needs to be done within a match, like all that kind of stuff. You know, and that's really what separates like the divisions. Like I think a lot of lower divisional players, they're just kind of playing individual ball out there. Like there's a lot of aspects of the game that just people don't necessarily understand.
Yeah, you know what I think has kind of pushed that? I think it's been ramping markers.
Mm-hmm.
I really truly believe in my heart that when they first did it, when they first went to ramping, they went, aha, this is it. This is where we take out all the cheater boards, and this is where we put everybody on the same level. There's no more cheating. Everybody ramps up. You know, everybody gets a governor on their engine, and everybody's going the same speed. That's it. Which was great to begin with. But the thing is with that, when you start going generations, or even 3 years of having kids come up only playing that, their individual skills of knowing how to place paint or knowing how to hold somebody in rather than with one finger and everything, but actually being able to play the game at an individual level rather than just standing behind a machine gun. I think they start relying on that a lot more and not relying as much on themselves and their team. If that makes any sense. I feel like there's a ton of individual skill lost now, and I think that's your divisional differences coming up. I mean, we have a lot of guys playing semi-pro that have been around for a while. If you go down and you look at the semi-pro bracket,
for sure,
there's a lot of veterans down there too who've played for a long time, who have probably helped a lot of those kids, some of the newer kids that are on those teams. But a lot of those guys down there played when you didn't have to shoot ramping, and I think that has been the difference. And I'm involved with this whole new thing. I don't know if you've heard it, the NPL. And what we want to do is we want to try and bring back that individual skill.
Mm-hmm.
We want to bring back the skill of the player. We want to take away all the aids, all the assists, everything. We want to start bringing back that. We want to start building teams back up. We don't want to compete with the NXL. We want to grow with paintball. We want to grow with the teams, and I mean that's our main goal. That's our main goal. We don't want to change paintball history. We just want to maybe change the direction a little bit in the way that we think is the right way. And I'm not saying that the NXL isn't going the right way. It's just it's there's nothing wrong with a different choice.
Mm-hmm.
And if all you have is a one-way street, but you have a dirt road over here, and this one the dirt road kind of looks intriguing. It might be a dirt road now, but it's eventually, it could eventually be a shortcut, or it could be, a better way. Who knows? But I think we've just been kind of beating this one path where, it's time to try something a little different. We'll see. But I'm excited because I think this is something that I wish I could have played in and been a part of, maybe even as a player, with what we're doing. And I feel like it's going to bring a lot more competitiveness and individual skill, and you're going to be seeing guys shot in, not being able to hold a lane with their left hand or their off hand, or however you want to say it. You're going to have a lot more moving because of that. I mean, how hard is it? I mean, obviously we've played long enough to where we can time somebody's laning or timing, even with a ramping marker. We can time that as a front player and get through a lane. Sometimes we don't, but we've timed that shit.
Yes.
But now just think how much, not necessarily easier it's going to move, because you're going to have to shoot your marker too, but be able to gunfight somebody quick and then jump over without them maybe, hardly going in, but then continually, like, I know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to explain it for everybody else, but it's like, exactly, they roll off, but the marker's still going, and they just come right back out, and they're shooting their bunker and everything. It just looks silly, ridiculous. I don't know why that it's like a pet peeve of mine when people shoot their bunker for some reason. But I don't know, man. It's bringing back that subtleness of the individual player actually doing these things without the assistance. And everybody's gonna have this whole thing of, well, you're gonna have cheater boards and this and that. I was like, we've come so far with technology that we're gonna be able to detect that shit. And if you're even going to try, it's not going to be worth it, because the penalties that are going to be assessed and everything, and it's not going to be worth it for you or the team. And we're going to have, each player is going to be, I'm not trying to lecture you about this or anything, but I'm excited about it, because it's just something that it's going to be cool. And each player is going to be registered with a marker, so you're going to be responsible for that marker. So when you register and you check in as a player, like we all do, at the events, you're actually going to register with a marker. And if anything is out of whack with that marker or something, or it's deemed messed with, and you're shooting more or whatever, exactly, now you're responsible for that thing. So it's like we're trying to make it as legit as possible, and then also just have all the teams grow with the league. So nice. That's my fucking next year. No, actually, it's going to be halved old school X-ball with penalty boxes, And
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's gonna be
No coaching?
no coach. Fuck no coaching. Are you
Okay,
kidding
I'm
me?
just
Oh
making
my
sure.
god, no
I
coach.
honestly think that was the best thing to ever happen to the game when they took, because they first took away coaching from the Dorito side,
Hmm.
and then later on implemented no coaching to the Snake side a couple years later. I think that was one of the best things they could have ever done for the game.
I wonder what their
You know,
reasoning behind introducing it was.
I don't know.
I mean, because
Don't.
you couldn't coach in 7-man, you couldn't coach in 10-man. In the did they integrate that when they came out with X Ball?
I want to say so. X-Ball was created in 2003. I think that was part of it. Yeah, coaching from both sides, and maybe to be just different from the MPPL.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, because
Man.
I know the crowd interaction was great.
Hmm.
It was that's when the crowd can get into it and you can really hear everybody and everything. That's awesome. But paintball is that game where it's just like you're played in hide and seek, and you really don't want that guy. Like, oh, it's like
You don't want. Oh.
do you remember the match against Joy Division and Dynasty in the 7-man match? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah, San Diego 2006.
I believe, yeah.
The one where the guy ran down Alex and then everybody was just overshooting everyone.
Yeah, and
BC comes through, bunkers the guy,
Yep.
and then Sipon or whoever comes
Mhm.
around and blows him up. Yeah, I've seen Dirter free agent like 300 times.
Yeah.
And I remember that was right when I had started playing paintball, and that was like, what everyone was talking about, around that time, because I started in about the fall of 2006.
Yeah.
And that was then. That was when that tournament happened, and Dynasty was on top of the world, and
Yeah.
all
Those
that
good
happened.
times, man. From 2004, 2005 to like 2008, 2009. That was
Those were years.
at least for me. They were like that was solid
I mean,
paintball, man.
Yeah, looking back on it, I feel like those were really the golden years of X-Ball, because I mean, look at what you had. I mean,
And
I
7-man.
feel like and Dynasty had made that climb. They were one of the top teams, but then you had the Russian Legion as
Mhm.
well. Oliver had gone from Dynasty back to the Ironman, into the Ironman rebuild then.
Yep.
You had a lot of contenders all around. Excessive, when you were on it, they were a contender right then for a little bit. You saw a lot of teams in that time frame kind of just like do this,
Mhm.
kind of just come out of nowhere. And, Xfactor came around in 2006, started giving everybody a run for their money,
Yeah.
and then start winning in 2007. You saw Aftermath make the climb in those years as well. Saw a lot of great teams in that era. I truly feel like that was the golden era, just because it was so competitive back then. And now, not to say that it's not nowadays. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a completely different ball game. It's a lot more technical in a sense now,
Yeah.
a little bit slower, rather than just, back then you had so much freedom to be just creative
Yeah.
and just try things,
Yeah.
So,
And I think that's what made it exciting back
Mhm.
then. And I think the excitement today is more or less just, I guess, seeing, I don't know, playing. I guess I really don't know how exciting it is as the spectator. I mean, we watch it as we watch tape, right? And I'm
Mhm.
sure being in those stands on Sunday, afternoons, and watching a match is pretty exciting. But for the most part, man, it's like you see a lot of teams like they're waiting around to get shot. Like nobody wants to take that
Mhm.
risk anymore, and nobody wants to try things anymore. And it's
Yeah.
I don't know, and I can understand it, man. Everybody wants to win, and I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on people to perform. And if you're the guy going out there, that's the tough part with front guys, man. We're supposed to go out there and perform, but we're also supposed to go out there and not get shot.
Yeah. You're supposed to make it happen, but you're also supposed
yeah.
to not get shot.
Yeah.
So
Go
you have
out
to
there
find
and
the happy medium.
Yeah, go out there and make the move. Make something happen,
Just
but don't get shot. Make sure you shoot everybody else. Don't get shot. Get to their side. Don't get shot, and shoot everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Sounds
Kinda
easy.
hard. Yeah, it sounds easy until you do it, and you're playing against some of the best players in the world who just don't miss, you know?
Yeah, who? Oh, dude, the
So,
shots,
yeah,
the shots are insane.
yeah. There's so much that goes into it, but that's what
Yeah,
makes the sport beautiful. You know, there's so many different layers to, the onion, I guess you could say.
yeah,
But
yeah. So
no,
let's go back to when you started. So
yeah.
where
Let's
where
start this thing
originally are
all
you
over.
from? Yeah,
I am originally from Salado, Louisiana, born and raised. Grew up, over there. Discovered paintball when I was, I want to say, 12 or 13 years old. Finally convinced my dad. I had seen it on TV a couple times. I had heard, I had played soccer for years
yeah.
before this, and traveled, did all that thing, did all that stuff, and just heard I remember being at a practice and I heard my teammates talking about like a birthday party, paintball party, and
That'll do it.
yeah, and I kind of wanted to get involved. And I remember talking to my dad and convinced him to bring me after one of our games one weekend, and got there like an hour before closing time, right?
Yeah.
Um, like at 4 o'clock when most fields close at 5 or whatever. And there was like one guy out there, and I'll never forget, Mr. Marty, who still plays to this day. He's a Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEAL, I believe.
Shout out, Mr.
And
Marty.
yeah, shout out. So he took me out there and we played one-on-ones, and I'll never forget, he first time I ever got shot, he just shot me in the foot from like across the field with his little spider. He uses like a 2-inch barrel on it, man. It's crazy. Still uses the same gun to this day. He shot me and I was hooked ever since, and it became an every weekend thing, and I think my dad just really wanted to get me off the Xbox, playing Halo and Call of Duty all day,
Yeah.
so that kind of just, you know, it blossomed into something so much more, and it gets deeper. Sean McDonald, one of your old teammates,
Crunchy.
yeah, Crunch, born and raised in Salado, Louisiana too. He was hitting his stride around the time that I started playing, and this was in early fall of 2006. So when he made that debut on Excessive with you at the 2006 World Cup, after the team imploded and they lost all the everybody went back to infamous Glenn Takamoto, Davey Williamson. Well, Davey Williamson was a dynasty, but yeah, Glenn Takamoto, Rusty Glaze, Dave Baines left, all those guys.
I ended up going to Avalanche.
Yeah, after that. But y'all played that World Cup together. And we befriended each other, and before you know it, he took me under his wing, and man, I shit you not, it was like Karate Kid. He'd pick me up in the morning, like 7 in the morning in his 350Z, and we'd go out to the paintball field and be snap shooting at poles. He'd be taking me through progression drills, explaining to me like rocket science, and I didn't know any of this. I was just a kid, kind of just being molded by him, and I had all the talents, all the athletic ability and whatnot. And he took me from a very like raw form and really molded me in a sense. And it was funny, like I think him and Mouse had a running bet whether or not he could get me to play pro, and sure enough, man,
Pay up,
down
Mouse.
the line, years down the line, got my shot with Xfactor, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
But this was 2006, and from like 2006 to 2007, I was like really I had started in 2006. I was really getting into it, but by 2008, after he had retired, you were back on Avalanche by then. By 2008, I was really getting into the swing of things. I was playing 3-man tournaments. You
weren't on a team yet?
I wasn't really on a team. Like I was on a little 3-man team. Dude, the Louisiana scene was dead.
Yeah.
Like really dead back then. So, and I grew up at LA Extreme Paintball. Shout out to Drew Bankston. I grew up out there, and the scene was kind of, it was kind of torn. Louisiana scene today is still rebuilding, and I do a lot of work over there trying to, help it grow more and more. But it was very clicked up, the scene back then, because you had the Rocket Kids, Warped Army guys over at Paintball Command over in Abita Springs, Louisiana, and I'm over here in Slidell, and the fields were kind of split. Like, So
Yeah.
everybody's kind of doing their own thing. And I started playing three man on a little team, and I played my first big tournament was World Cup 2008, and I played D2 five man with Dark Army, which I know you played with Gerwin Hen,
Yeah.
or Roger Hen, and Gerwin
Roger was
Hen,
nasty,
obviously.
dude.
But yeah, Roger was nasty,
Yeah.
and I'll get to him in a second. But he, I played for some guys from their field, SWAT Paintball, in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. We played together with some friends of mine, five man at World Cup 2008, and that was my first taste. And then going into the next year in 2009, Sean actually got me a tryout with the Palm Beach Vipers, and I played on one of their Division two teams. Um, but yeah, like the Louisiana scene, it was hard, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like today, like a lot of these kids are spoiled because the scenes are just, they're a little more developed. And when the economy hit that recession in 2009, even like late 2008, like
Hmm.
everything tanked.
Yeah.
So it was hard for a little while. And when I finally got my chance with X Factor, I knew I had to take it.
Oh
I
yeah.
knew I had to move out. I knew I had to move out to Texas and be a part of that scene and just
That
get
was
that
with the tryout,
experience.
the roster tryout, right?
Yeah, that was in 2012. So I know I'm kind of jumping all over the
No, it's all
place.
right.
Tarantino over here, just cutting up the story, chopping it up,
It'll all
putting it
make
all
sense.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, like it was really hard in Louisiana, so I was kind of bouncing around. I would go out to swap paintball some weekends and play against Roger and Gerwin and get my shit just pushed in. I would practice with um the Warped Army guys, which basically the Rocket Kids. They were over at Paintball Command, and I would do seven man practices over there, and that's when I first discovered my love for seven man because that was like the only field that had like a seven man setup because the team actually played seven man strictly.
Hmm.
So I would go over there and I would kind of mix in with them and play against them with a lot of the other teams that were out there who just needed some extra bodies.
Yeah.
And I consistently do that. And Drew Bell, Stuart Ridgel, all those guys, Anton Lavropoulos, he like all those guys really helped me tremendously. And it's so funny. Drew Bell actually hit me up the other day. He's like, "Hey man, when you get back into town, let's do drills at LAX." So I'm gonna get back on the horse with him. I think that was one of your teammates on Avalanche
Yep.
for a little while. He was
Yeah, he came
trying.
later in
Uh,
the yeah.
yeah, he came around later, but that was one of my old sparring partners, man. Because Crunch at this time, he had mentored me for the longest time, and while that was all going on, he was, a deckhand training to become a tugboat captain. Which is the career path
Really?
yeah, that was the career path he took after paintball. And this was from like 2008 to 2000, like 11, 12, that like we were kind of going back and forth, and eventually he kind of got on the boat full time, so I wasn't able to play with him as much
Well, he jumped
because
on
when he
Iron Man, didn't he?
retired, he was on the Ironman in 2007, and then in 2008 he retired.
Yeah.
He was out like to off season 2007. He was done.
Yeah.
He was I believe the story. He was kind of talking to Aftermath because Aftermath made the jump to pro for the 2008 season
Hmm.
along with Tampa Bay Damage, and Avalanche came into the scene. Y'all played you, Danny Tiljack, Brandon Mayo, all those guys, Roger. Y'all made the jump to pro from semi-pro after y'all won the World Cup in 2007,
Hmm.
right? So all that that happened, but Sean stepped out, started doing the tugboat thing, and now he's doing that. But he was strictly just like playing with me. Like he would come out on weekends or whatever, and we do drills together. So I'm like 16, 17 years old playing one-on-ones consistently with Sean McDonald.
Yeah.
And I mean, he wasn't too rusty. He'd be running me down. I mean, dude, it was rough, and he'd shoot the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I remember one day, like I was playing for the Palm Beach Vipers at the time, and it was like raining, and we played on this hyperball field like all the time, man. He trained me on a hyperball field,
Yeah.
like no joke. So like I'd go out and play airball like on weekends when I could, but like my drills, my snap, like running and shooting, snap shooting, all this stuff. I'm like snap shooting at poles, running around on this like legendary hyperball field in Slidell, Louisiana, just, grinding, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And like to this day, I preach fundamentals all the time. Like if you get that
Yeah.
on point, like it eventually gets to the point when like things get easy and people can't fuck with you,
Yeah.
And
I'm a big advocate for accuracy over everything.
exactly. And I think it's a skill that many people kind of take for granted, like how like accuracy.
Yep. It's all accuracy
Being
by
able to-
volume now
Yeah.
with the ramping.
Yeah,
with
it's
the ramp.
accuracy by volume, 100%.
Yeah.
But that first ball, especially in pro, is everything.
Oh, yeah.
It's everything. It's getting that guy to flinch just enough to where you can make that move.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I every clinic, all the guys I work with, everything, I preach progression drills, especially before a tournament. If you know those shots, if you know those guys you need to put in, you can hit that shot with the first ball, makes your job tremendously easier. Because then at that point, all you have to do is be an athlete.
Right.
Get to the spot,
Mm-hmm.
Get to the spot, stay alive,
Yeah, it's exactly that. Whenever I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's exactly that. Like whenever I've done a clinic, I go, no matter who you are, where you are divisionally or whatever, I go back down to the basics, and I go, all right, let's do some snap shooting, let's do some laning, let's get the basics down, and I want to make sure that you guys are doing these right. And then we will progress throughout the day or throughout the weekend to where I think you guys should be, or what you should know. And so I'm sure some take it as, oh my God, but if you don't have a good foundation,
exactly,
the building's going to crumble.
There's so many fundamental flaws. There's so many fundamental flaws in a lot of divisional players nowadays that just, you got to pay the toll eventually, and a lot of it. I see just sloppy play just decides divisional games all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, out here in Texas, we have the USXBL and we have all these leagues all over the place, and I see it all the time. I'm coaching teams out here. I coach Grit. I'm coaching Notorious this weekend for the Star Series, AC Dallas's series they have up at Paintball Fit in Dallas. So I see things all the time, and I preach to people consistently. Like it boils down to fundamentals half the time. You can shoot off the break. If you can shoot a guy off the break right away, make it a 5-on-4, like that could be the game right there.
Yeah.
Just at like in the simplest form. But
Well, and imagine now doing that in semi-auto, actually having to pull the trigger enough times and with accuracy on top of that, rather than pulling the trigger a couple times and now the gun's going to shoot by itself, and now all you got to do is aim the barrel. But it's like just basic shit. Go back to the basic shit that created these paintball players.
And then you work on communication. You build on that. And like with all the clinics I do, it really boils down to an understanding of how to use your teammates with you. Because I mean, if you break down paintball, yeah, it's a 5-on-5, but more often than not, every tournament, it's a 2-on-2 on each side with a guy in the middle.
Absolutely.
Or with these layouts we've been seeing lately, it's 3-on-3 on the snake side with a 2-on-2 going on the Dorito side, and mass chaos.
Yeah.
But I mean, it really is fundamental. It really is, just with everything. But
yeah, it's correct. And eventually it comes down to it's like we said, that accuracy comes into play, and then the athlete comes into play. And then as you get older, the situational play comes in, and all that is just decision making.
And that goes back to my point before when I was just saying, like, pause the game and having people be able to explain what needs to happen, what's actually going on. Like, it's that. Like, what is really going on the field? Like, can you explain this particular situation? It's that kind of stuff. And that's when players jump from one tier to the next tier.
Yeah. It's knowing when to act or react.
And I think players, they build that in the upper divisions of paintball, and then, when you're ready, make that jump to pro. But you see a lot of kids get, and I did too. I got thrown into pro. I feel like to this day I went pro on gun skills and athleticism alone, And, I wasn't ready when I was originally on X Factor. Like, I knew how to be a scud missile. I knew how to
Hmm.
go to their end of the snake and pop up, and hopefully there's four backs right there because I'm
Yeah.
just going to tear up everybody. But when you start getting into those situations where you have to kind of figure it out, you have to stay alive, you have to use your teammates, you have to slow down, you have to play the flow of the game because it's
Right.
going to speed up and it's going to slow down.
Hmm.
Situation is going to break down and you're going to have to pull bodies back, or you're going to have to, play out stuff, work together.
Yeah.
So there's so much that goes into it.
Well, yeah, and
But going back to
oh, I was gonna say, as an individual player too, you're gonna change throughout throughout your career and throughout not just
yeah,
you, people who play the sport. Like myself, I enjoyed when I was younger. I enjoyed going really really far. I enjoyed going really far, going as far down the field as possible on a snake side or whatever, really quickly, shooting guys in the back, trying to shoot as many as possible. And then, if I get shot, at least I took some with me. Now, or at least up until now, what I've liked to do is I'd like to play the game a little bit and kind of challenge myself in the middle of the game, where it's like, if there's a ladder snake, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, anybody can play a fucking ladder snake. Yeah, you can shoot the tape, and then you just go, and then you go, and you go. It's like there's no thinking to it. But if you start putting gaps in between, you can start finding kind of these little spots that you can kind of weave around and into.
you can be creative.
You can
could
be
start,
creative. Yeah, and that's where I was like, I want to start doing that. I want to start being more creative and start thinking about things a little bit more rather than go here, go all the way down, shoot. Which there's a time and place for. There's always, and when I was younger, and still occasionally, nowadays, but when I was younger, that was my job, and I respected what my job was. On Excessive and these early teams that I played on, I understood what my job was, and I did it without a complication. But I think as I matured as a person and as a player, and my roles had changed on different teams that I went on, you just kind of adapt into that new role of whatever you're playing. It might be now you have to play. Like look at Marcelo, for instance, right? Marcelo started out as the
one on the Dorito side.
Exactly, he was the one. He was the one going down the field. Now I don't know if it's if it's by choice for him to kind of play now the two and maybe sometimes a little bit further back. I don't know if it's by choice or if it's because of his knee issues, which your knees are everything if you're a front player. As you know. But he's kind of had to, on Dynasty, now take on that different role of that two. And he's really kind of embraced that and become that different player. But you've kind of always been in the mix. You've kind of always been, up front, getting really close to people.
Yeah, since I've come into the league, I've found myself doing the same thing. You and I kind of get put into the same category, just scud missile.
I will retire before I play back.
Yeah, right. I mean,
and I did.
I have no problem being back there, but
yeah.
I find myself just doing what I've always done, and just I'm head down, running far somewhere, just gun battling, and then playing race to the 50. Trying to get onto their side.
Yeah, man. I don't know why it's like shooting my gun a lot is not fun to me.
Yeah.
Like it's weird. Like I've gone only just a handful of games these past a while actually without even shooting a whole loader and at least getting it's just it's weird. It's me. It's like who I am. I'll get down the field with only a loader, and while there's still four guys alive or whatever, I'll just figure out a way to do it. But I can look at it as was that always beneficial? Probably not. I probably could have shot my gun a lot more, but I think it's kind of one of those old dog and new tricks thing where it's just like that's just kind of how I've always played, and it is what it is.
I think it's with the field nowadays too, because if you look at what they've been doing with these field layouts, besides obviously Atlantic City this year, but
I missed that
for the most part the fields. Yeah. You didn't miss anything. It was just slow. They put the car wash for the back center, man. Come on, dude. But for the most part, the fields have been cluttered. Like Dallas, it was like a wall just across the front line, and these last two layouts, like World Cup, like if you got into the 50 snake, you didn't really shoot anybody across field. It was really a heads up gunfight. And then once you got onto their side, like you would have to get to the 50 and wrap to really find people. You couldn't just get to the 50 and like look inside. And the same, like with all that, and the same on the Dorito side, like, you know, when you got to the 50s or even their side, you know, you had some backs on the Dorito side, but it wasn't like you could roll into one spot and shoot like 3 or 4 guys instantly.
Right.
You know, you had to get on the tapes, wrap, and then get to their end and try and peel guys off. And Chicago was somewhat similar.
It was dicey.
Yeah, it was dicey. I really liked Chicago this year. That was a good one.
It was fun. It had that old school feel to it, that old school X-ball feel of just bloody knuckles.
I love it, honestly.
That's why I don't wear gloves, man. I wear those things as battle scars. I was like, I'll get close to people, man. I'll get my knuckles blown off, but I'll guarantee you I'll blow some fucking necks apart and some knuckles with it.
Yeah. And that's like why, I mean, like I said, we kind of have gotten thrown into that same role, but I mean, I feel like I've always had those instincts, you know, and that just that killer mentality, you know, to go down the field. And this all goes back to the stuff I used to work on as a kid, like just dialing in the fundamentals and all that, and using my athleticism to get down the field. And as I played more and more, and you know, gotten my pro experience, you know, you start to learn like when to slow down, you know, how to play the flow of the game, and use your teammates when you get into those hairy situations, which I feel like I've been able to do that a little bit more over this latter half of this past year. And I mean, I felt like I learned a ton on AC Dallas, but I feel like I've really progressed over these past 2 seasons, just with an understanding of what's actually going on with the game and how I can apply my talents to the situation. But just, that role is just fun. I mean, I'd love to be able to play the 2, but I always get
well, I'm always so much more accurate whenever I'm closer. So that's that's how I always think of it. I have a way better chance of shooting you when I get really close rather than really far away. Yeah.
It's always nice when you pop up on their side of the field and that guy's just doing a job, has no clue, you know, where you are, and then you just just eat it.
Just a couple. For me too, like I don't get a ton of enjoyment. Like sometimes, like I'll lay into a guy when it needs to happen, I will. But there's just something about just throwing 2 balls out and just seeing the 2 just on the goggle, or even just one in the back or something like that, and just go to the next person. It's like I don't need to waste my paint on you, bro. I'll just all it takes is one. Hopefully it breaks, but you know, I'll move on to the other one. But
it's probably a little bit more embarrassing when it's just a couple. You just get dotted up real quick, brand new set of eyes, and you're just like, man.
Yeah, because you
the camera's on you.
You get the reaction when somebody gets shot to shit. You get the reaction like, ooh, or like oh, you know, that reaction. Yeah. But when somebody gets shot with 1 ball, or it's like a good shot, it's like, ooh, you know, you get that whole thing.
That goes wild.
Yeah, I like those. I had a question for you. What is the big difference playing on AC Dallas rather than or let's say what's the big difference playing on Xfactor rather than AC Dallas? Like where do the differences lie, and why did you make that jump?
Well, the entire time I spent 3 years with AC Dallas, or within the AC program, and then that last year I played pro with them. It kind of came down to just commitment, and I've lived in San Antonio this entire time. I've lived in San Antonio for the past 6 years. And it became extremely difficult, you know, and I just recently started going to school again. Got about 18 hours left on my communications degree from UTSA. So it was just like a commitment thing. And I got a great offer to go back to a team that I initially left, who it's not like these guys weren't ever not my friends, you know, like we've maintained incredible relationships over the past few years. And, when I finally got the call to come back, it was kind of just like, okay, clean slate, can do this all over again. Because, dude, I left X Factor right before they won the World Cup. And I
Yeah.
sat there and I watched them on the webcast win the World Cup, just thinking like, shit, man, I could have been there. But it's something I've kind of held with me, and I wanted to be able to come back and, win one with the boys. But it was just it was kind of like, okay, I could go back and right some of my wrongs and start off on a clean slate and be the player I know I can be
Mm-hmm.
for that team. And it was a new opportunity, and it was something that I kind of felt in my heart that I wanted to make right.
Yeah.
And Alex Martinez has been like a father to me, a second father to me for a while now.
Amazing,
He's always
dude.
taking care of me.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely amazing. Like, dude, when I saw y'all embrace at Cup, that was after our game. Like, that was a powerful moment. Like, I look back and I saw that and I was like, wow, dude. Like, there's so much love and respect for that man. Like, I could sit here for another hour just talking about him.
Absolutely.
But no, man, it just being like, nothing against the AC guys, because those guys still to this day, some of my great friends, and I will forever respect and owe Greg Pauly like a lot for like just helping me go from here to there. Because when I left X, like I needed some direction. Like,
Mhm.
I played Division I with Ryan Cohen, who was my roommate when I originally moved down here, and we never got to play with each other on X Factor just because when he left to go to law school, I kind of took his spot and
Yeah.
then just ran with it, and then that's where my journey with X began. And when I left the team, he wanted to play again because he was getting to the point in law school where he had some time, he could juggle, and he could play a few tournaments. So we went off and we played Division I in 2014, the year you came back and played on an Aftershock. And we had fun together, but at the end of the year, like, the team kind of fell apart. And he was getting out of it, and I wanted to continue going. And an opportunity arose with AC Dallas, and I took it, and it wound up being one of the best things that could have ever happened for me, because I spent 2 years playing Division I, and I figured out how to play paintball.
Mhm.
I figured out my job, I figured out my role. I was given a system that I could take and run with, because, I mean, Greg knows what he's doing. Like, I don't have to sit here and explain for all the viewers, what exactly goes into paintball, but he has created a system that has truly helped. I feel like it's helped everyone who's ever played for that organization.
Yeah.
Because once you learn it, and once you kind of start understanding your role and what needs to happen, like, you kind of go from here to there, and you start seeing really how paintball is supposed to be played and the whole team aspect of it. And I guess that kind of brings me to my next point, just with AC Dallas, like, the difference between X and them, dude, they are so just organized. I mean, just boiling down to the playbook and everything they do. But like, it's so slow, methodical. Like, I mean, we've watched AC Dallas over the past few years come into the league and kind of use, I don't want to say like strange ball-esque. You remember Detroit Strange,
Mhm.
how they used to, like, really use the clock and, slow methodical, play style. But that's what they do, dude. They
Yeah.
rely on their shooters, which they have great shooters, and they have one of the strongest back lines in the league between the Jackson brothers and TJ.
Mhm.
They can really, grind a team down and work people out and, pick guys off, just baiting people into moves,
Yeah.
and using each other, working off of each other. And then you add Brad McCurley, one of my great friends, into the mix, smart, methodical player. He's been a stud for a while on Infamous. Right? You added him to the fold, and then, you have him and TJ on the Dorito side working together cohesively, just putting things together. And it's a strong team, man. And I mean, they're very well coached. Like I said, very slow, methodical play style, and then you go to X Factor, who is a little bit more balls to the wall. I mean, obviously Sunday paintball, you see it slow down.
Right.
Like, that's just what happens. But you've played on X Factor. I think it's more like a reaction, Like Xfactor kind of just sets the tone. We come
Mm.
out, we do what we want on the field, and we try to impose our will.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's the best way I can explain it. Um, AC Dallas is just a little bit more slow, methodical.
And I think both strategies work and don't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
And you've seen that. I think we've seen that throughout the years where it's like X Factor with their style gets to Sunday consistently, but just can't really, the gameplay or whatever it is can't really make that last jump. Gets right there.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with AC Dallas. Their gameplay is pretty different. You know what I mean, compared to X Factor. I think for the most part. But then their gameplay also gets right about there. But then they just can't make that hump. Now, whatever that is, I don't know what it is.
I mean, it's the little things. I mean, really, when you get into it on Sunday, it is the tiniest of mistakes. And I mean, that's what comes with playing on the highest level of any sport. And
Right.
if you want to start nitpicking and looking at, what really goes on, it's the small little bullshit mistakes, really. It's the little ticky-tack stuff,
Yeah.
like guy. And I mean, going back to our match against AC Dallas at World Cup, they shot like two of us off the break, the first 2 points. And then the third point we play against them, they shoot Billy off the break going to the snake.
Yeah.
And then it grinds down. And I believe it was like a 1-on-2 for a while. And we just like killed a bunch of time. And then we had to come back, and it was like too late at that point. But it really is the like very small things, and like going back to Chicago, we first game on Sunday, we blow out Impact 7-1, and then we play the Russians, and it's a back and forth battle.
Yeah.
And it came down to the last second, and then we go into overtime, have a bad breakout, and two of us get shot off the break, and that's the game. Because on that layout,
Yeah.
two bodies peel off on the snake side. I just go straight to the 50 snake, starts rapping, and just traps that guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the team follows up, and then, everybody just gets picked off. But it's little things. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But
see, it's weird with paintball too. It's the little things, but then it's also luck. Because how many times have those guys been probably shooting that lane? Yeah, it's like, how many times have those guys been shooting that lane and missing people, and then all of a sudden in overtime, in that particular moment, they were able to pull the trigger at the right time, aim their barrel at the right time, and just so happens they shoot two guys.
Yeah. So much of it is luck. I mean, dude,
there's so much more luck than I think.
The refs can decide half the game right there. If a guy, decides, cheating, like all kinds of stuff comes into play, man.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just part of the game,
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of people, and we have a lot of, we talk about a lot of the stuff that we encounter on the pro field. But a lot of people in the divisional fields are encountering the same thing, and I don't think we hear about it, of like people getting screwed over by penalties all the time on the.
Dude,
yeah,
it happens. It happens. Like I was in divisional paintball for a while, and dude, a bad call from one ref can decide the entire match. Really.
I know a few people who went to Cup and they were playing on a divisional team, and I heard that they had one call that was turned, or that wasn't turned, but it was called, and they go all that way and spend all that money, and they get that far, and then one call like puts it all away. Yeah, and it's just like, oh my God. I mean, I guess the same things in the pro league as well, but we have the webcast. We have some sort of instant replay to be able to look at it a little bit further. We have the persuasion, not necessarily the persuasion, but maybe the little extra time to be able to talk to Trozen or whoever and be like, hey man, can we figure this out? On the divisional side, as far as I know, it's not really like that. I mean, it's whatever happens. There's good luck.
And half the time it's like, even if the rep does make a bad call, he can't really overturn it or anything. Like, half the time they don't, and they're just like, sorry buddy, good luck next time.
Yeah, and that's why I think I think there's so much more responsibility on the ref's shoulders than what they think. And I hope, you know, yeah, I hope any refs that are out there, if they're listening, even though we know that you're out there and
Yeah.
you know you're out there all day, it fucking sucks. I understand that, but you're reffing a paintball match where every point matters. Every point matters. Every situation matters. And if you're just not feeling it and you miss a call, or if you make the wrong call and you're nonchalant and you're like, whatever, well, yeah, whatever. Like that you could possibly be shutting a team out and sending them home because you fucking don't feel like reffing.
Yeah. 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 It happens all the time.
Yeah. I don't know how I got to that. I'm not even gonna
lie. I reffed in the USXBL for a while, you know, when I was playing on Diesel, and see it all the time. I've made mistakes, dude. Yeah. Reffing paintball is hard, man. It
Absolutely.
Really is. When you're out there all day long, like people don't understand. It's grueling, dude. And you're getting shot up, you know. Dude, shit happens, you know. But
yeah, but it's another thing when you don't care.
Be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's another thing when you don't care. And you know, if I understand it sucks, but you have to have there needs to be some kind of separation where it's like you're getting paid to be there, and you're
That's
there
it,
to be responsible and maybe not necessarily make the right calls all the time, but you have to at least be in the moment and just put effort into that minute and a half that you have of when the average point is going on. Just be in the moment for that, and then fuck off in the points in between, do whatever. But there's so much more depending on the refs than what they think. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away. I'm not saying they fucking suck or they're shit or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? No. It's just
I'm with you.
Yeah, and it's happened to plenty of players, to plenty of teams all over the place. By mistake and possibly on purpose. I don't know.
At some point in everyone's paintball career, you will have a bad experience with refs, and you will also have a good experience, you know, when things just go your way. You get the call, you know. You get shot in the face and the ref wipes you off, you know. Something dumb, you know. But
yeah, dude, as a pro player, you know too where all the refs are standing. Yeah. Who's going to be seeing you? What's going on? I'm not saying that I have cheated I've gotten away with things, but as a player, as an older player, and you know this too, is like you'll know where refs are standing. You know when who's going to be looking at you and who's not, and you know,
part of the game.
It's part of the game.
You know, yeah,
it is.
But yeah, going back to my story though.
Yes, please.
I know you're gonna edit this all around, but
oh no, this is going how it is. I don't
how it is.
I don't edit these pretty much at all. All I do is throw ads on.
Oh, perfect. So
people like all that shit, so I like it too.
So in 2009, I went over to the Palm Beach Vipers, and that was another crazy experience. So I was just, you know, it was brand new for me. I was playing with, you know, a bunch of guys I had recently met, and it was a large growing experience, and it was something that, you know, I appreciate now more than anything, because I was one of the kids that didn't really fit in within that organization. You know what I mean? I felt like I kind of got the short end of the stick in many instances, and just kind of got shit on. But at the same time, I did it to myself. I was an awkward, weird kid for the longest time. But that was an incredible learning experience, and I met some really great friends through that. And it was cool because in 2009, Kyle Spica was actually still playing for the Palm Beach Vipers on the same pro team. So that was like my first interaction with him.
I've heard of that guy.
You know, yeah, pretty good player.
He's all right.
But no, and then I ended up kind of going my separate ways from the team halfway through 2010, and the guys I was playing with on on that Palm Beach Vipers line, they created another team called Zulu Warriors, which a lot of those guys ended up going to play for CEP and then now PC Katana.
Oh, really? That's them?
Yeah, Colin Cherry, Logan Landry, a lot of those guys I played with for a little while. But I got away from that team at the end of 2010, or I played one event with them, World Cup 2010, and it was cool. I remember watching an Xfactor Division 1 game when they had their semi-pro team, and being right next to Grayson on the sidelines and seeing him coaching that team and thinking, oh wow, that's Grayson Goff. And then the next year, Crunch sends me off on a tryout for Xfactor. And this is in 2011 when Alex, who he was going through his divorce and everything, he was getting back into the swing of things on the with the team full time. And Archie was coming back from Dynasty. Dixon was coming back onto the team. So like the band was getting back together. The Odells were playing. Yeah. Like that was the year they got like the squad back together and they were trying to, get the ball rolling again. I did not make the team. Alex convinced me to come out for like their little divisional team, which would be named Xfactor D2. But all the kids and the guy who ran the team, the late Sidney Ing, rest in peace. I bugged him on PB Nation for weeks. And he was finally like, well, all right, bud, I'll give you a shot. And, I mean, Al kind of vouched for me. But my dad drove me out there. My dad used to drive me down to Florida, man. He would drive me sometimes he would drive me the 8-9 hours to Lakeland, Florida, CFP, Central Florida Paintball, where we practiced. Sometimes he'd drop me off in Pensacola. I'd meet up with my teammates and we'd go. Yeah. But that was when we were going to the East Coast on Palm Beach Vipers. And then he started, sometimes I would fly, sometimes he would drive me over to San Antonio, 8-hour drive west in the opposite direction, started going over there. But he always really liked, the family environment that Alex has. Yeah. And, he was all about it. I started playing on that divisional team and started getting kind of noticed by Colt, and I was in his ear a lot, just picking his brain, trying to get as best I could. But kept plugging away. And then that off season, the 2011 off season, Colt hits me up and he's like, hey man, we're looking for a B short type of player, and think you could be that guy. And that's when the roster tryout happened, the first roster tryout. Yeah. And the off season 2011, and he sends me that message and I'm all about it. Like, I'm like, dude, this is my dream. I'm gonna go to that tryout. I brought my buddy Anton, who played on Warped Army with me. And I get there and Billy Bernacchi is there, and I had seen it on that website, propaintball.com, that he was coming out. So I was like, shit, dude, I'm not going to make this team. I go out there and try out anyway. And I end up being like out of the final 5 guys that they had, I was number 2 behind Billy. But of course, Billy was going to get the spot because he had the most experience. But Ryan Brand, he pulled me aside and he was like, hey dude, I see you playing your first professional event this year. You've done well and we want to put you on the practice squad. Yeah. Because Alex wanted to do a little practice squad with like 4 or 5 guys just so they had like some kids around. And, I had that opportunity right there and I took a leap of faith. I really did. I went home, I drove back home to Louisiana and I told my dad, like, look, this is ever going to happen. I need to move out to Texas and, play on the practice squad and earn my way. And he was like, all right, just give me a couple days. I'll think about it. And he came back and he was like, all right, look, here's the deal. Your mother and I will support you, but the deal is you need to be going to school. So worked it all out. Moved out there in March, moved in with Ryan Cohen in a party house that used to be owned by Dennis Rodman. Right. Oh, and yeah, dude, nuts. Moved in with him. Michael Kovar moved in like a few months later with a couple of Ryan's high school friends, and the rest is history. But actually 3 months after that, So I moved down in March. 2 months after that, in May, they were down a couple guys. Ashton got hurt. Todd had some stuff he had to take care of. So they needed an extra body for the 7-man because they were playing 7-man as well. This was still 2012 before 7-man died. That was one of the last like consistent competitive years of 7-man too. And they needed an extra body, and they brought me to the Chicago 2012 event in May, and that was my first pro tournament. So
Nice.
it happened pretty quickly, man. It was just like boom, boom,
Yeah.
Moved down, was grinding with them. We were practicing with Texas Storm a lot at the time, which Dimitri Ninos was on, and they were coached by Greg Pauly, Mark Johnson, all those guys. And dude, I was practicing against them. They were sending me to the 50 car wash, and I'd off the break, and sending me a snake off the break, and all kinds of stuff. And everything just fell into place. I got my opportunity, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty, I walked away from the team at the end of the 2013 season, right before World Cup, and watched them win, which lit a fire under my ass unlike anything ever before.
Oh yeah.
To come back and just finish everything, which brings me to why I left AC Dallas, and because I remembered all that stuff, and I wanted to come back and do things the right way.
Yeah.
With them. So.
Well, and here you are now.
Yeah, man.
With the team, and it's a solid
It's been
core.
a wild ride,
dude. It's Xfactor is one of those solid, just set solid core guys with great teammates around them. And it's a great organization, man. Alex makes you feel like family, and 100% family, and the players are all incredible, hands down. And it's a great solid organization. I mean, there's not much more I can say. I can say a lot more, but it's going to be all the same shit. It's a great place.
Yeah.
I just couldn't fit in with that. I don't think my play style was at the time just didn't fit. But it doesn't mean that I don't respect those guys or anything like that. I think it's awesome, and it's great to see you back with them, and it's great to see you on the field with confidence. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's something Mouse tells me all the time. It's confidence now at this level. Just going out there and knowing you're a bad motherfucker and just making it happen.
Yeah.
And I love it. I feel like I've grown tremendously as a player over the past 2 seasons, really. And going back to my time on AC Dallas, those were, while it was tough, I remember weekends, driving up to Dallas, 5-hour drive from San Antonio multiple times. In 2015, when I was on the Division I team, I drove to Dallas 6 weekends in a row, dude. It was rough.
Yeah.
But just that entire grind, I feel like that built an incredible foundation.
That's what it takes.
Just for me, and just playing so much, man. And you've been down to Paintball Fit. You know how they grind over there. And before events, they do 3 weekends in a row, and I felt like I really got into a great rhythm.
Yeah.
Doing all that, just practicing all the time. And the Jackson brothers are no joke. They'll keep you out there till the sun goes down. Just going over. But that's what it takes, And if you really want to become a great player, you have to put in the work.
Yeah.
You have to be on the. It's just like going to the gym, man. The more you're in there, the more reps you're doing. Just building on everything, the better you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And you'll see the results.
Absolutely. Imagine if you can do that shit, during the week after work, and
do it all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like just stepping on a field after work or whatever. Not necessarily. You can dedicate every single weekend, but imagine how much sharper you would be. If you did a Monday through Friday, you stepped on the field and just did some laning, did some snap shooting, and then on the weekend you get everybody together and go out there and play. And that's just time on the field, and repetitions.
Yeah, and that's why I love being on Xfactor. Al takes care of everyone, and I'm just with me working out there, doing like a lot of the marketing stuff with the field or whatever. in my school schedule, like I'm able to kind of get away and I can
Yeah.
go out there, especially before tournaments, and I can just work on stuff. And
Yeah.
like I was saying before, progression drills, like just the basic fundamental stuff, just getting out there on a layout and going through all that stuff and just
Hmm.
being able to hit certain shots and practice running and shooting to the corner consistently. Like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
just all of it. It all goes hand in hand. And I feel very blessed to be in the position that I am, just being able to grind like that and not have to, you know,
Yeah.
worry too much. All I got to do is go out there and perform.
Yeah, and I think
But
there's a
with
lot
that
of
comes great responsibility.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, absolutely, and I think there's a lot of people who are like, man, practice isn't fun. Well, I mean, if you don't think,
It's not supposed to be fun.
well, yeah, but also I think also like my mindset thinks is like, do you think a quarterback likes to throw a football? Like, of course he does, right?
I mean, yeah.
I think
Yeah, you got to fall in love with what you do.
You have to. A pitcher enjoys throwing. He probably doesn't enjoy throwing 98 miles an hour every single day, but he will throw a baseball every day. There has to be some sort of you just have to. I think that's where it comes down to too, where it's you just love doing it so much. That's why you go and do it, not because you have to.
You have to fall in love with it.
Yeah, yeah, not because
I mean,
you have to go do it, but because you actually want to go do it.
yeah. It's psychological though. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I mean, I was going, and this dates back like years, but I was going through some stuff growing up, like just feeling unaccepted
Mm-hmm.
and not accepted in school or whatnot, and I just had like all this like pent up aggression and energy and everything, and I just fell in love with paintball, right?
Yeah.
And I just went down the rabbit hole with it. And I fell in love, and it was my thing that I did. It was my escape. It was my realm that I could go to,
Mm-hmm.
and I could be what I wanted to be. And I looked at it like a video game. I truly did. I'm playing Skyrim, like an RPG or whatever,
Right.
Like I'm the character. I'm building all of my skills now. Like whether that's in the gym, at the paintball field, whatever. Like I'm building who I want to be as a player. And Kobe Bryant is one of my all-time favorite athletes, and you hear him preach all the time just about work ethic and just putting in like consistent work,
Yeah.
doing like shooting 1,000 free throws, like Michael Jordan shit,
Yeah.
But you have to fall in love with it at that point. If that is your craft, if that is what you want to do, you got to go fucking do it, dude.
Yeah. Especially if you're getting paid millions of dollars. You're getting paid to be
Right?
really fucking good, so you better go
Exactly.
be really good.
Exactly. But at the same time, it's I don't want to necessarily say an ego thing, but you want to be that like if you're performing on that kind of level, and I use the same thing with paintball. If you want to be that guy, you want to be in those moments where you got to make that shot.
Mm-hmm.
The world is watching, and you want to be your sharpest. Like that's the way I look at it, and I train like that. Like I want to be my best, so that when I step on the field, like you got to deal with me,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to know that I am one of the baddest motherfuckers out there.
Yeah.
So that's part of it with me. And if you don't have that work ethic, if you are going to be lazy and you don't want to work as hard as you can at it to reach that next level, then
It's gonna show.
have fun being mediocre. Yeah,
Yeah.
have fun being mediocre.
Yeah.
But that's what it takes, really, for anyone listening, any divisional players out there. Like, if you truly want to be great, I mean, I know, paintball costs money, but if there's a will, there's a way. Figure it out. I used to mow the grass at LA Extreme Paintball for a case of paintball so that I can snap shoot at poles all day.
Mhm. Yeah, and
So-
and buy a case. Go play the day with a case of paint. I understand that there's different, back players shoot more paint, or shoot in semi-auto. Do something where you have to control a guy with less paint, but maybe your shot's more accurate now.
Yeah.
So you can control the guy better. I mean, it's people might think it's stupid, but it's dude, just play with less paint. Challenge yourself a little bit. Make it a little bit harder on yourself, and pull those little things out of yourself that you didn't necessarily thought you had, but now you're challenging yourself. So like you kind of start chipping away at your paintball character, and you're building it up again, or you're
Exactly.
building on it.
you know?
It's little
and
things,
like
man.
going back to Louisiana. I mean, I'm sure you visited Louisiana at some point in your life.
Never been.
Hot as shit down there. Dude, it's humid as hell. It's like
I've always
Florida,
wanted to visit.
right?
Yeah.
You know how humid and hot it is in Florida. It's
Ugh.
like that in Louisiana as well. And when you're practicing in the middle of the summer, it is a mental grind, dude. No one wants to be out there. Just getting eat up by bugs and just you can't breathe, and that's a whole new level within the sport. Because we all know fatigue. When fatigue sets in on the paintball field, you start making mistakes. You start playing sloppy. You start doing dumb shit that you wouldn't normally do, just trying to get out of a situation, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
You can work through that. If you are trained and you are ready for those situations, you will be exponentially better.
Yeah.
And I feel like grinding in Louisiana did that for me. And Crunch will tell you the same thing. Like the shit like we've done down there, dude, it's hard. But I mean, Tampa Bay Damage does it all the time. So like if you can play in those conditions, you can do anything.
I still don't know what's worse, playing in the humid heat or playing in fucking 25-degree weather in the Midwest.
Yeah. Well, we don't play tournaments in 25-degree weather, so
but if you want to play in the off season, you're a Midwest paintball player. You got to figure your shit out.
Yeah. Play indoor or whatever. I know it's hard for you. You're out in Ohio somewhere.
Yeah. Northwest Ohio.
Yeah, it's a trek just to get over to, indoor or wherever you play.
Any field for me is 2.5 hours, and then Chicago. That's any field at all, paintball wise, and then 4 hours over to Chicago, and then I think 6 over to Plex is 2 hours, so I don't really play at Plex too much, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a haul either way.
It is.
It just goes back to making sacrifices, how far you want to go.
Yeah.
But
well, Jesse, dude, thank you so much for sitting down with me and chit chatting.
Thank you. Yeah, always.
Absolutely, dude. I always enjoy. I've had some older pros on here, some veterans, and I really enjoy some of the younger guys coming on here because it's a different experience that you came up through a different kind of genre and era of paintball, and it's just cool to kind of hear your perspective on things compared to mine, kind of going through, and I think it's good. I think it's good hearing both perspectives.
Mm-hmm. No, it's awesome because I mean, dude, I wish I could just hop in a DeLorean like Marty McFly and go back in time and play in 2006 or play in 2005 against Dynasty, and just I missed that whole era, right? Mm-hmm. And dude, I feel like I would have been a monster on half of those fields, just where the X is in the middle and, there's pins lined up in the middle of the field and it's a ladder snake and there's mini X's and Doritos on the Dorito side. But it was just so different back then, mm-hmm. 15 balls a second, just 2 20-minute halves, just balls to the wall, just eating people's lunches.
It's crazy. You had that, and then on the totally separate side, you had this 7-man system where it was just methodical and just, but exciting.
Yes.
Stands 100%. Were still packed and watching, and it was it was just crazy, the 2 dimensions.
Watching Dirter videos, I never got to play Huntington Beach, dude, and it's something that I really wish I could have done. But going back and watching old Dirter films and everything, and just seeing Huntington Beach and those giant stands just packed, dude. Yeah. Completely packed, people everywhere, drunk, screaming fans, just so excited about paintball.
We're gonna try and bring it back.
Dude, that is what I wanted to live for, and that motivated me to just be able to play on that stage.
Yeah,
and it's just cool. And I still nerd out, and I'll go back and watch Dirters, and I'll watch all that stuff. And I'm like, wow, dude.
Yeah, man. I watch Sunday Drivers before every event. I watch Sunday Drivers on the plane ride. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, the little shit that I do. Well, man, hey, thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck. I know you're going to bust your ass in the off season, and you're going to sharpen your sword, for this upcoming 2019 season. So, yep, I wish you and Xfactor the very best. Tell Alex hello for me.
Always. Always. You know
And
we got love for you.
hell yeah, take care of yourself, bud.
Always, buddy.
We'll talk to you soon.
Take care of that kid. Yes, sir. Later, buddy.
Peace, man. I appreciate it, Jesse. Thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me. I had a great time, bud. I wish you guys the best of luck. It's going to be an interesting 2019 for sure. It's boiling up. The off season is crazy with all the moves, and yeah, they're in the new league. Craziness. We'll see what happens. A big shout out to our sponsors, ShockTechUSA.com. Like I said before, guys, mechanical is in, and if you are looking to get a new mechanical marker, make sure you head over to ShockTech and pick up one of their slick little badass guns. So very nice, and they're all hand put together and assembled by Mr. Danny Love himself. And if you don't know who Danny Love is, look him up, man. Google him, Aftershock legend, Danny Love. We're also brought to you by Charm City Paintball. Go over to Instagram or Facebook and check out what designs and fabric he has right now. Anything he makes is usually 10 runs or less, and it's all awesome. It's all great gear. And if you're looking to get the Grandma's Couch headbands, they will be out very, very, very soon. So thank you, Mike. Also brought to you by Push Paintball. The Unite goggle, the lens, the bags, all can be found at pushpaintball.com. Make sure you ask for Crystal Soya. I would do that, and he'll tell you the business. He'll let you know what's going on. And yeah, amazing gear and a great company. So pushpaintball.com. ckfightlife.com. They have all the gear for the BJJ, for the paintball jerseys, packs, laser engraving. So if you guys have any markers that need laser engraving, please go over to CK Fight Life and they'll hook you up. You guys, they've been all over the place on the pro field, on divisionals. Everybody has wanted to get anodizing, but sometimes you can't. And the next best thing is laser engraving, and they do an amazing job over there. ckfightlife.com. And last but not least, brought to you by Rise Custom Gear, risecustom.com, and they are the ones who are actually doing the t-shirts for me. They will be on pre-order, should be this upcoming week. Get them just in time for Christmas. And yeah, let me see your guys' support for the podcast. I appreciate it. I'm gonna hopefully have a Patreon here soon, and that would be awesome if I can get that rolling. And yeah, I appreciate all the support, guys. Thank you so much. It's been so fun with the playing and the support on the pro field, and I'll never forget it, man. It's been an experience for sure, and I really hope that everything paintball related after this is just making more memories and hopefully impacting the paintball world in a positive way, in a growing way. That's what I'm trying to do, and that's who I'm involved with is trying to do as well. So thank you guys so much for listening. Please don't text and drive. Pay attention to the road. I want y'all to get to your destination safe. And yeah, we'll see you again here soon on the Playing On Podcast. Peace.